Welcome to my YouTube channel. I have been watching this show for more years than I can count, and I have to admit that my heart just aches for Carter Walton right now. Watching his journey unfold week after week, I feel a deep sense of sympathy for him. He is a good, loyal, and incredibly successful person, yet the one thing he has always wanted seems to constantly slip through his fingers. Family is everything to Carter, and his deep yearning to be a father is something that resonates with me profoundly. I often wonder why the writers put him through so much emotional turmoil. Do you ever feel like the universe is just entirely unfair to him, constantly dangling the dream of fatherhood only to snatch it away at the last second? When I think back to the days when Carter and Zoe Buckingham were together, I remember feeling a strange mix of hope and anxiety. I really wanted them to work out, but then the devastating affair with Quinn Fuller happened. Watching Zoe discover that heartbreaking betrayal was incredibly difficult for me. I felt her raw pain and humiliation right through the television screen. It was a terrible mistake on Carter's part, and my opinion has always been that his infidelity shattered something fragile inside Zoe that could never easily be repaired. How could any woman simply move past finding out her fiancé was involved with someone like Quinn? I firmly believe that this single event forever altered the trajectory of both their lives. After the truth came out, Zoe packed her bags and fled to Paris, and I was genuinely shocked by Carter's reaction, or rather, his complete lack of one. I sat on my couch expecting him to chase after her, to fight for the woman he had asked to marry him, but he just let her go. He never bothered to track her down in Europe to make amends. My personal evaluation of that situation is that Carter was so overwhelmed by guilt over the Quinn affair that he felt he no longer deserved Zoe, but his silence left a massive void. I cannot help but question if his failure to pursue her is the very reason he has been kept in the dark about a potential child all these years. Did his lack of effort convince Zoe that he did not care enough to be a father? Carter's romantic life only grew more chaotic from there, and I remember shaking my head in utter disbelief when he nearly married Zoe's sister, Paris. That whole storyline felt like a desperate man grasping at straws, trying to recreate the love he lost with Zoe by moving on to her sibling. It was incredibly messy, and I felt a strong sense of secondhand embarrassment watching him stand at that altar. Then, of course, Quinn spectacularly intervened to stop the wedding. While it made for dramatic television, my heart broke for Carter. I predict that if Zoe does return, she will definitely bring up this deeply uncomfortable chapter. How on earth do you explain to the mother of your child that you almost married her sister? The tragedy of Carter's love life did not stop with Paris, because his subsequent relationship with Quinn ended in another devastating heartbreak. Quinn ultimately walked away from him, and the reason she left still brings a tear to my eye. She knew she could not give Carter the children he so desperately craved, and she loved him too much to deny him that dream. I have always held the opinion that Quinn's departure was one of the most selfless acts I have ever witnessed on this show. She sacrificed her own happiness so that Carter could find a woman to build a real family with. But looking at where Carter is now, I worry that Quinn's beautiful sacrifice might have been in vain. Will he ever actually find the family she stepped aside for? It is genuinely baffling to me that a man who has had so many serious relationships still finds himself sitting in an empty house without a child to call his own. Carter has so much love to give, and I feel a profound sadness watching him navigate his lonely existence. He is one of the most stable men in Los Angeles, yet he remains childless while others build families effortlessly. My evaluation of his character is that his intense desperation for a baby sometimes blinds him to the reality of the women he chooses. I constantly find myself wondering if Carter is cursed to always be the supportive friend and never the proud father. Does anyone else feel like the writers are purposefully torturing him? Just when I thought Carter had finally found his happily ever after with his recent wife Daphne Rose, tragedy struck yet again. Daphne leaving him was a massive blow, and this time I felt a surge of genuine anger because it was not even Carter's fault. He poured his soul into that marriage, believing Daphne would finally make his dreams of fatherhood come true. Seeing him abandoned once more, utterly crushed and alone, was almost too much for me to bear. I strongly believe that a man can only take so much rejection before his spirit is permanently broken. How much more heartbreak can Carter endure before he simply gives up on the idea of love and family altogether? But now, there is a massive rumor floating around the soap community that has completely reinvigorated my excitement for the show. The word on the street is that Zoe Buckingham might be returning to Los Angeles, and she might not be coming back alone. When I first heard this, I literally gasped out loud. The idea that Zoe has been secretly raising Carter's child in Paris for the last few years is absolutely mind-blowing. My personal prediction is that this revelation is going to send shockwaves through the entire canvas, completely upending Carter's currently depressing reality. Just imagine the sheer emotional magnitude of Carter discovering he has a 3 or 4-year-old child out there. Are you as thrilled by this possibility as I am? If Zoe really did leave town pregnant, it forces me to completely reevaluate everything that happened back then. She left immediately after discovering Carter's affair with Quinn, which means she was carrying his baby while her heart was entirely shattered. I can certainly understand the intense pain she must have felt, but my opinion is that keeping a child away from a man who wants nothing more than to be a father is incredibly cruel. Did she hide the pregnancy out of pure spite, or was she simply trying to protect her child from a man she believed was untrustworthy? I worry that Carter is going to struggle deeply with the realization that he missed the first few years of his child's life. How do you ever make up for that lost time? What makes this potential secret even more complicated is the involvement of the Buckingham family. If Zoe had a baby, there is absolutely no way her family did not know about it. Paris and her father must have been sworn to secrecy. I feel a deep sense of frustration just thinking about them smiling in Carter's face while hiding the existence of his own flesh and blood. My evaluation of the Buckingham family loyalty is that it is incredibly toxic if it allows them to participate in such a massive deception. I predict that Carter's rage toward Paris and the rest of the family will be explosive once the truth comes out. Could you ever forgive people who looked you in the eye and hid the existence of your own child from you? The timing of Zoe's potential return is what really makes me think deeply about her current motivations. She has stayed away for years, so why come back now? I strongly suspect that Zoe heard the news about Daphne leaving Carter and ending their marriage. Knowing that Carter is suddenly single and vulnerable again might be the exact catalyst she needed to finally bring their child home. My personal opinion is that Zoe still harbors feelings for Carter, and she might see this as the perfect opportunity to swoop in and offer him the ready-made family he has always desired. But is she returning out of guilt, or is she strategically trying to win him back when he is at his absolute lowest point? I cannot even begin to describe the emotions I will feel if we finally get to see that reunion scene. Picture Carter sitting alone in his quiet, empty apartment, answering a knock at the door, only to find Zoe standing there, holding the hand of a beautiful toddler who shares his eyes and his smile. I know for a fact that I will be sobbing right along with him. The overwhelming joy of finally getting the child he has prayed for, mixed with the devastating shock of the deception, will be a masterclass in acting. I believe Carter will forgive almost any transgression just for the chance to hold his child. Will this be the moment that finally heals his deeply wounded heart? Ultimately, this storyline has the potential to be one of the most compelling arcs we have seen in years. Carter is going to have to navigate a minefield of complex emotions, balancing his profound anger at Zoe's lies with his overwhelming gratitude for the child she brought into the world. My greatest hope is that they can find a way to co-parent peacefully and perhaps even rekindle the love they once shared for the sake of their family. I predict that the road ahead will be rocky, filled with tears, arguments, and beautiful moments of bonding. As someone who has rooted for Carter for years, I just want him to be happy. What do you all think will happen when the truth finally explodes?